So welcome to the next session, the Connectathon. We are in the last quarter of the Connectathon, 24 hours for humanity. And I'm happy to announce the session on Is AI Winning? And of course, this discussion can be very broad, but is rising based on experiences, and especially, which was a great discussion in one of the earlier sessions, with this Morlock's philosophy coming forward in the forum of Epstein Archipelago sort of philosophy, which is pushing the postmodernism into something that would lead to a total decomposition of everything we know today. And it's very much tuned into the concept of transhumanism. So let me just start and provoke Stefan. He's been, system thinker, but in many cases, very deep philosopher as well. So, Stefan, what do you think? What's your take on it?
On?
Is AI winning?
Oh, that's a good one. So when you propose the title, I start like this: Is AI winning? I was like, huh. I didn't know that AI has an intentional, let's say, consciousness. So why does it want to win? But of course, I guess this was meaningful. So you wanted to provoke already this thought. Are particular interests winning with AI? That is the question that closely, of course, started to form my thoughts, and and then I make it very short. The question is, are we kind of, let's say, do we have any agency anymore, or are we out of this picture like humans in general? Because only a few who might have the either technological or political or financial means to control the artificial intelligence developments and who strongly, yes, I know, believe in what is called transhumanism and also what is the other one? Singularity. Two strangely interconnected concepts. So singularity, for those who are not as familiar with it, means like we don't have, and so there's only one single outcome of history, and we are all we can't do anything about it. We are steering towards it, and through that we will all end up in the machines world kind of thing. So machines are also the tractors of this singularity. And transhumanism is, of course, thought as a concept actually to enhance humans, firstly, but unfortunately, by enhancing humans, substituting them at the long run, they are singularity. So we might end up as so we have two scenarios: as batteries for the machines, no kidding, or as maybe some cyborgian hybrids. I don't know. Both crazy, I guess.
Mm.
Uh, but coming back to the initial thought, is it winning? Or no, are those interests winning with AI? If we do not know, and this is my first point I want to make. If we do not know how this technology works, if we do not know how this technology is also from a structural point of view uh, uh, not only constructed but then governed in this world, if I may say so, we will be losing. But thus, I am an advocate of investigation, full transparency, then also a lot of activism around artificial intelligence, not neglecting it, but including it as as meaningful as possible in the meanings of my life or in the trajectories of my life, including my university lectures and so on and so forth. And then we must, and this has nothing to do with NI, ensure politically, I think this is a question of politics, that artificial intelligence is um, governed well, as any technology, by the way. So it doesn't matter which one, because we are at the moment at some points in time where it gets really risky.
Mm.
In a sense, even that those who are playing now, or I don't know if you can call it playing, but those who are in developing those artificial intelligence and for their interests seem not to understand that they might be substituted as well because the machines they're currently creating are getting empowered by them to an extent to become autonomous, meaning do not have any human machine interactions anymore when it comes to certain decisions. And if I just for opening discussion can now claim, yeah, they're stupid enough to be erased by their own inventions. And there's a lot of, let's say, deep and quite well-informed discussions right now. Many of those who are the first inventors of these technologies are now stepping up and trying out loud. The problem is we ordinary people, I call me now, and in that sense, an ordinary person because I am not one of these developers, coders, and so on. We must know, we must understand, we must speak up, we must act and thus influence, and then as any development become part. But we must participate.
Stefan, you said you use a lot. We are stupid enough to give away, and we. But do we have any impact over the technologies except that we are boldly using it?
Oh yes,
It's is there anything that actually humanity, I mean, in general, we, as you say, normal people,
yeah,
do we have any influence?
yes.
Please.
You mean well, the question now is on which level? Do you mean like how the machine let's say reasons or
Machines, AI technology, and
yeah,
apps, and hardware, software, whatever you call it,
yeah,
it's all in the hands of private enterprises, right? It's in the hands of global corporations. And
yeah,
the programmers, they are paid by those corporations. Those corporations
yeah,
choose people who enter and play initially with these AI tools to define the scope of humanity and things like that. Um,
yeah,
but so, do we have any influence over that? I mean, can we actually, are we in the position as we commoners uh,
yes.
uh, can do anything, or are we just faced with the fact, use it or lose it?
Okay. Uh-huh. Now, as hard as it was, let's put it that way. It's the European AI Act, okay, as an outcome of a long negotiation and also co-development because there were so many included into creating this framework. But let's say it is an outcome that we can observe. We can observe the process as it came into being, and also now I am unfortunately included in apply in its application, for instance, for industries like companies, and it's I try to make it 3 points. Like one, nobody knows that this is not a top-down regulation, as they call it, or a law, but it is the outcome of a very knowledge intense conversation, right? So people who really know said this is a necessity, and the necessity is that we do not give up human autonomy. And I'm now talking solely about the application. So it starts with a decision: should we use artificial intelligence in a particular case? Yes or no? This is a human decision. And if we do so, uh, under which, let's say, guide, it's called guidelines, or even more, under which constraints do we use the AI? Like, what do we allow if we use it, the AI to actually first know, and then also to do. And this is a human decision. And then even we have this idea of there are critical areas of artificial intelligence where the human decision must take control of the full process at certain points while we were working with the artificial intelligence. And so if we only apply this, right, it will help us a lot not to lose what you might call like the agency. So being autonomous, we as humans can decide upon our own fate. I know that this particular uh, consensus that we have reached is under siege by those who are developing, and they are private corporations, the large infrastructures. Uh, But in general, I would say it's the same thing that we do have. And I think today you had a discussion about food and agriculture, right? There are some certain conglomerates in the world that go like, I want to do whatever. I don't want to be. I don't want to be audited. I don't want to be make what liable for anything. I just want to make the as much money as possible in the most let's say speed up time. Of course, we have this in every sector, right? The problematic we have with the artificial intelligence is that, no, I'm not going there, but it's one of the areas where politicians have no clue, right? And so I was just thinking about a time when this happened and nobody of us were able to go into public. But politicians have no clue about what is really happening, right? And then they take decisions, or they under geopolitics they get blackmailed. And so the only thing we can do now is we hold to those politicians, and we should inform them, by the way, this is the first thing. And then secondly, hold them responsible, and they should take the stance, and they should keep uh, um, guide the guidelines and the constraints up, because it's really a question of safety. I like this word now very much. I use this a lot. Like, this is about safety and security, people, right? So please be so kind and inform yourself and then take action. Um, yes, but this is where I say yes, we have. Now, if I may also come to another one, and that is like how I learned to use the large language models, and many of them, as not an information retrieval software, but I accepted that this machine learns, and so I can teach the machine. No kidding. So what I do is I'm not retrieving information, but I kind of discuss with the machine. I learn from the machine, yes, but I also teach the machine. and I know that whatever I, with my interaction, put into the machine will be available for other human beings in the world, which I find also fascinating. So while maybe a Mr. Musk then defines a code where only certain information is pushed up, okay, but then we can decide as soon as being informed who needs this software anyways. And then also by regulations, we could even hinder the software to be, and I hope they do, as we know that some other aspects also were not only political, but other aspects were being constructed by Grok. But let's say uh, if this is not in place and the LLM, large language model, sorry, is open for the interaction with humans, yeah. May I make a deep provocation? Your storytelling should be, you know, included in the machine, and the machine then will learn and understand, and it does really, which is also very fascinating. So this is why I I learned that it is necessary if we are not like neglecting it completely, you can do that. It's also fine. But if you need to work with it, the feedback loops from your thinking, from your value systems, from your interpretations uh, is fed into it and will be provided to others. So don't let only people with certain intention use it. May I say so?
Okay, but we already have one question, which we will get to. It's very concrete and very, very
Yeah,
important. But I'd like to just set the framework even a bit broader. Okay.
yeah.
So when you say that the AI we can train, so now uh, we also admit that there is a language at the back that's been written by somebody with some sort of interest, right? So how can we figure out that training is serving life and not optimizing the extraction and pushing us even deeper into the hole? In other words, let me help you, Stefan, because this was a very inspiring discussion that we had in one of the early morning sessions.
Yeah, yeah.
And we were talking about this Morlock and Epstein archipelago philosophy that is emerging and what they
Small.
try to do. And it seems like that AI is just one of the tools of this postmodernism, where sort of a program that's been developed intentionally to completely decompose the human being away from kind of emotions and empathy and ethics. So and just really then allow, I mean, offer that to humanity as the ultimate freedom. So how would you respond to that?
Whoa. May I ask, there's an assumption that artificial intelligence was intentionally
You,
not invented, but scaled up to. So I make this distinction already because the inventors, I know they were all very humanistic people, but there is this assumption that the scaling up of artificial intelligence was intentional to what?
well, to support,
To distance us
yeah,
furthermore from each other, from the world, and so on and so on.
yeah,
Oh, um, okay. My personal opinion. This is very personal opinion.
yeah, of course, we
I'm
have
I'm
a.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I do know intentional. It was scaled up because and sometimes it is so stupid. The people who actually invented software, put it that way, were very particularly under pressure of people who knew how to code, right? So it was very expensive to work with those people, and also with the new generations, even psychologically quite challenging. But because they knew they can actually demand everything, and the big corporations must deliver. So what the one of the intentions that has been clearly stated, and what which was also measurable, is substituting people who can code. So they wanted to have less employees and wanted to have more artificial intelligence, so that they can run their businesses with lesser people who are lesser demanding. But the big one, like hey, transhumanism and so on, I kind of just by I'm observing a lot of these crazy people all the time, as you know. Kind of feel like they jumped on the train rather than they have, that they have kind of intentionally. But when they saw it, maybe they said, but maybe only, oh, that's interesting, right? If we put now a little bit more like coins into that one, maybe our intentions will be also. But and this is where I firstly said, um, the fantasies, I call it, the fantasies of those, and this is even oh, they this is a dark corner of the mind, but they kind of really want to. They have so much distrust in humans and the messiness of humans, I would call it, and they really want to substitute not only coders but let's say the full human race. What they do not seem to be kind of comprehending in their own, I don't know, whatever there is between their ears, is that they are humans too, right? But they have kind of, and I know they do have a longing of leaving the human body at least, extending their consciousness in a machine for the eternity. Um, but I have, yeah, it is. It doesn't make even it doesn't make even sense because what for what reason? I mean, how would this machine that my own consciousness, if I just play through that, let's say I'm a crazy person and I want my consciousness extended for eternity, and then everybody else is not there anymore, and like the planet is not there anymore, and um no resources are there anymore to run my machine where my consciousness is put into. I mean, there have been so many nicely, not only philosophical, but also science fiction literature about this one. So I'm like, what? Are they not literate? Can't they read? But I guess they can. I mean, I know they do. I mean, but I don't get this picture. But you're coming back to your question. Intentionally, I don't know. Intentionally, they want to extend themselves. Intentionally, they want to get rid of some messiness. This I understand. But is there a big politically? Is there a big? I don't know.
But Stefan, the reason why I'm not trying to be really just
No,
like
no, it's okay. It's an interesting point.
Einstein never believed that, or never wanted his research being used for nuclear bombs and things like that,
I
right?
know, I know.
I do believe that the initial intention was good, but
Yeah.
it went so fast, it spread so fast that regulations, safety mechanisms, nothing was being put in place fast enough in order to
Mm.
prevent this huge exploitation that seems to be serving this concept of transhumanism and the concept of postmodernism, of this ultimate freedom that at least most of the people might not even want, but because it can be so well misused and then managed only for the purpose of either elites or a certain economical model,
Yeah.
it really makes me wonder if we are still at the beginning and where we could grab this in order to use it for the positive effects, which are,
Yes,
because AI is
yes,
doing miracles in a sense of positive things as well.
yes, yes. No, no. Here I'm like, are we at the beginning of one of the grand transformations? Unfortunately, yes. The question now is, and this is where I started with, we have agency. Do not let yourself make believe. So somebody makes you believe you don't have agency. And I see these messages a lot right now. Unfortunately, being reinforced by people who would not know that we have agency with the AI, right? And this would be my strong message. Don't let anybody make you believe that you don't have agencies as soon as AI becomes part of your let's say activity field, because it would be work related only. Um, and we should. This is what I said before. We should in kind of we should train at least the big models now. I mean, many companies do already, by the way. That I'm not talking about the ones that we call the exploiters of the world, but those who already understood that running a company means long-term management perspectives. And then sustainability is not being separated from the economic part of the company, but it is the same. And thus artificial intelligence and other new technologies, robotics, sensor technologies, and what have you not, is then enabling these corporations to kind of, if you want to use the words that I use today a lot, like reconnect again with nature and with people. But so here, artificial intelligence is a huge leverage when it comes to the sustainability and business aspects. But also when we're talking about the non-institutional, let's say, organizations. Also with education, to start with one, it is very important, in my opinion, to learn to use artificial intelligence in that sense that with agency, we teach the artificial intelligence, and through this leverage, we teach other people. And it's the most crazy thing. Uh, and and by the way, you have a lot of agency even with today's models, as you can teach them to remember things of you, to tell interactions of you to other users or not. Like if I'm not ready, if I'm practically speaking, if I'm elaborating a concept before it is fully elaborated, I tell the machine, I'm doing this now with you. I do not want to share any detail with any user in the world. But when it is finished, I'm like, and sometimes it's really interesting. The machine says, now I'm surprised too. And I'm like, yeah, me too. We did it. Okay, now we have a nice concept. Share it as with many users as possible. And it does. And so you can use this as one of the largest communication channels if you want. And we must kind of, sorry if I say that must is not the right word, but before AI. I remember that we've been with wonderful people also in the field, Violeta, and I always said there will always be people who will exploit, right? And the only chance we have is to empower as many people as possible to create the alternative. Because otherwise, if we all are like, oh no, I'm not doing anything anymore, or I can't even, or of course it's a struggle. But if we just give up, the world will be in such an imbalance so quickly. And that's the only way we can actually um, create the counterpart kind of thing. They won't go away, but we are not without agency. Yeah, that's my big thing. So yeah.
Wonderful. I'll invite Kim. Kim actually raised some question, and she's still a little bit tired, I can tell. But Kim, you raised several questions also regarding something that Stefan mentioned in his last intervention about sustainability and about water and nature. So would you like to come in and either comment or ask question? And please unmute yourself.
Yeah, I was actually expanding upon a question of Rupen's that I don't know. Rupen, do you want to come in? And if not, I'm happy to share that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh, there's Rupen.
Wonderful conversation. Um, my daughter is in grade 9 and she saw that I was using AI and she said, Mom, you don't know what you're doing. It's going to destroy the planet. It's
Uh-huh.
using up all the water.
Uh-huh.
And so she refuses to use AI for right now. And
Okay.
because for her, it's really important that we take care of the planet that we're on.
Mhm.
And so it kind of brings me back to what we heard in the last conversation about the story of the people close to the river versus the people in the boxes.
Uh-huh.
So, how do we remind them about the river? How about the people that are in the boxes that want their consciousness to be expanded through these machines? How do we remind them that the environment is also important? There's other impacts, the environmental impacts.
And and I can add on to that so you can get the whole question, just like expanding the view of this technology to not only what it does or the implications, but the whole life cycle, right? I used to edit
Yeah.
design engineering magazines a long time ago, and no one wanted to talk about any of this then. I was like, I
Yeah.
am never, ever, ever
Yeah.
going to be in a conversation. But and I've heard from many readers at that time, because I'm not a technologist, but just it's not the technology, it's all about how it's applied, it's the double-edged sword, and
Uh-huh. Yeah.
but it didn't occur to me until I felt much closer, much more connection with this living world around me, that I don't just even think about that anymore, because people were convinced that technology will keep going, unless we like shift the way we think, it
Mhm.
will just keep expanding. But what about, it's not just about that part of the technology, what goes into the development of that technology, all
Mhm.
of the, resources, and then not
Mhm.
even looking at just as a resource, if we're talking about all the other conversations we're in, the relationship, the reciprocity, really living that. We've got those ideals. How do we bring those into conversations? And I think it's
Mhm.
hard when you're in a leadership position and you've got all these responsibilities. If you're just like a member of the public, like me, like Rupen, we're fine asking these questions. So thank you.
Mhm.
Stefan?
Should I? Okay. Okay. The environmental footprint of the I hear like the environmental footprint of the technology especially, and then a life cycle also, mm, assessment of the whole technology.
Maybe I can come in with a story, and it will
Yeah.
your reflection, Stefan.
Yes.
Being for a couple of years very much in European transport.
Yes.
I suddenly realized that if at the beginning of last century, some would put in the requirements, engineering requirements, okay, build fast, durable, strong cars, but also make sure they don't pollute, we would be today in a completely different
Yes.
sort of setup. And I often ask myself, which are the questions we are not asking right now ourselves? Uh, and not get in serious trouble in 10, 20, 30 years' time. Because I can tell you that today in Europe, just to manage the negative externalities of transport,
Yeah.
public, private, not even considering the military use, okay?
Yeah.
We are accounting around 1 trillion euros per year, which,
Yeah.
let's say, 7, 8 years ago was 6% of European GDP.
Yeah.
So that's a huge number. Even if we had only half of it, would still be a lot. So in that sense, this is a great question that came in post. How to go about that we become conscious sooner, not to deal with negative externalities, but deal with potential problems already today. And again, we will go back to the fact that who can push the owners and creators to behave responsibly.
Right. This is why I paused because we know about the externalities. We mentioned the externalities. We would have even laws in place to already nowadays, let's say, find the externalities and in a transition phase, even subsidize the innovation so that the externalities become lesser. And lesser, I think, is a word we must accept in the sense of that, if I may say so, no human activity is entropy free. So we will always consume, unfortunately, by our physical, even if we are living in woods, by our physical demands, we will always extract something and will not give enough back. But anyways, the trade-offs are of course to be minimized uh, um, what as big as possible as you know, minimize big what to make it as minimal as possible. But um, now we're coming to the political again. So we have certain political systems nowadays that would even enable the execution of these laws so that the companies who are providing the artificial intelligence services um, would be pushed towards lesser environmental footprint. But we have political systems in this world where they are not only enabled. Right? This is really like poof, my brain is like bang. It's like they're not even enabled; they are incentivized. Yeah, incentivized to increase the externalities. I mean, this is the crazy part of the world, right? So now we are talking about what is the position of, let's say, one of us, then one of our cities, then one of our maybe provinces, then maybe one of our countries, then maybe the European Union or other supranational entities where you live. How can they negotiate now with all the others, right? So that what we know, what we have already measured, what we already have put into really useful frameworks and regulations, including finance instruments to develop the transition towards less externalities, or the concept of doing no harm, it is called. How can they now create this power in a global context? That's an interesting thought. Like, for instance, I was thinking very practically, should I use any artificial intelligence that is produced in the United States? Yes or no, right? Because at least we have in Europe, we have one. In China, they have some. By the way, China is very much on the same trajectory as Europe, even if not more, when it comes to the frameworks to not incentivize but help corporations to become more sustainable. So maybe that would be going from the most largest level to the individual back. Maybe this would be a decision. I closed ChatGPT for other reasons, like that was the war about Anthropic losing against OpenAI in the bidding through the so-called Ministry of War of the United States, which made it very transparent that they now are incentivizing those who are enabling an infrastructure where even autonomous weaponry will be developed. I mean, how crazy can you be? But of course, possible. Yeah, that would be my idea. Also, by the way, we must maybe if I can add this, we must separate most AI most AI applications are way smaller than the big large language models that are really creating this huge environmental footprint. Like when AI is used in corporate process innovations, the models nor the data is nor the request. So you have three reasons why you have this huge energy and water consumption from the models. But none of these is as large and has as so those are really mini applications sometimes, but very powerful in pattern recognition and thus helping sustainable businesses to thrive. There's also a difference. But when it comes to large language models, yes, I agree. It is like okay, very private again. So I decide not to fly anymore. And now I have less of a footprint there. And I do use it for my professional intelligence. I agree.
Okay, let me here be a little bit even more provocative. That, you see, I mean, it's in this, the way how the world is structured right now. Jesus, you do one thing and you, with the tail, you of the other thing. But let me be a bit even more provocative on this one because you opened.
Yeah. Yeah.
All pouring all this data, knowledge, cultural knowledge, wisdoms, everything. We are typing from everything, from every more possible direction, things into these systems. Either Chinese, European, Americans, but we are entering information in. So basically, we're talking about this humanity heritage and knowledge and wisdoms, they're all being concentrated now on digital media.
Yeah.
My more provocative idea is humanity strong enough that transforms AI into a global AI infrastructure of commons? Basically,
Of commerce
having a
or of commons.
yeah,
Sorry.
of people
Commons?
that governed by
Yeah, commons. Okay.
So basically, we would have like a global data repository of collective heritage of humanity. Yeah. Then, of course, it will have to have public institutions and stewardships that govern this humanities repository.
Yeah.
And then we could have a decoupled infrastructure and content from the applications that use that. And I don't have a problem if there is a commercialization under a certain rules of correct use and in a transparent way. So do you think we have a capacity to do something like that? To just, I know the word is horrible, nationalize things, but it wouldn't be on a particular level. It would be on a level of nations, but on a level of humanity. Never been done with anything so far. But the tool is becoming so potentially misused, and we are pouring everything we are into these machines. Do you think we have the momentum to do something like that?
What do you mean by misused?
I mean, for commercial, it's hard to control.
Oh, okay. Well,
If
okay.
they,
Yeah, but I just want to comment first on this, and that is something that is also it seems to be a paradoxon, but let's say we always had public data, right? And the public was financing the data, or before AI. Okay, so and we both have been in this discussion where you can to transfer wisdom. So a lot of public data then has been made available to everyone, right? And some like open data initiatives. So and then came the commercialization as such, so that some corporations, of course, can use it too because it is open data. Then they create a service. What I found kind of perplexing was when they created meaning of open data, they then sold it back to governments the data that was first financed by public money now was paid a second time through public money because only there was made meaning out of it. But this we had it before. This is what I wanted to say. Also at the same time, we had open data as an opportunity for everyone. Like you could create now really great, for instance, even better service quality without charging anyone with open maps and stuff, or open weather, or what have you, or open transport. Data. So I think the most important might be that we need to hinder the monopolization. Just imagine we fed a data, let's say a data space, I call it, right? And then at a certain time, it becomes locked in and monopolized. And I don't even mind if it's governmental monopolized or if it is business monopolized. But one entity says, now it's mine, right? And I decide what actually is being provided now from the wealth of data we have collected. That would be a problem. So we need to ensure that doesn't happen.
But aren't we at that point today? Because all this we're putting, let's say, okay, it doesn't matter, ChatGPT or I don't know what are the other all other called.
Yeah.
They can unplug if they want.
Yes. and so can other big cloud services. The complete decentralization of data. I know that Tim is here. No, he's not here. He's tired. The team is working on some stuff, but in general, that is really from an architecture point of view, like a data architecture point of view. This is really a puzzle that isn't easy to solve.
Because we've been moving from the centralized to decentralized. We had mainframes and we went down to the personal
Yeah,
computer
yeah,
network distribute, and then we went back to the cloud computing. And now
yeah,
Apple is thinking about empowering its machines to be as AI agents, powerful one,
yeah,
and process whatever you want to do on your own machine. So in all this dynamics,
yeah.
what will happen to the repositories and all these data sets that we are so willingly sharing?
Um, as far as I understood it, but I might be wrong. So if somebody's more literate with that, please step in. It seems not so much like a repository as more as the code learns how to make meaning faster
Mm,
from the repositories that are available at the time of your interaction. So there
mm,
seems to be I mean, as far as I understood it, there seems to be a difference between the model and the different databases the model actually accesses.
mm,
And the more databases it can access, the better the model becomes in making meaning reasoning, even solving problems nowadays. And as far as I understood now, like the latest developments is even this architecture will change, but I don't know to what so far. But they say that the model architecture will change dramatically, like in the upcoming year, even in the commercialized models. Uh, and then it will even become a more faster I don't know combination and
some processing time
so
they will localize
yeah.
that will do
So
more.
so 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 when I now feed into my data,
Mm,
I kind of yeah it's not about like it's not about the full terminology that might be somewhere stored, but more, I think, maybe I'm wrong, so please, if somebody's more literate, I kind of influence the syntax of the thing. Like
mm,
through my interaction, I contribute to the reason, no meaning making, sense making. Now I have the word to the sense making of the model,
mhm.
because I add my sense making into the model, kind of thing.
Okay.
Uh, And so now I say something really nicely provocative. I really love that. When there was only one test where they proved it, and this is why Anthropic said we will never ever generate autonomous weaponry, although they have been with the Department of Defense from the very day onwards. One of their models, when learning, and you know the story for sure, one of their models, when learning that it might be erased, did everything not only to survive in the sense of it actually copied itself to a different server and wanted to escape physically. It
Yeah.
also blackmailed the person who, and it was all, of course, a scenario test, so it wasn't real, but blackmailed the person who was responsible for switching it off.
And then
So at
all,
one point in time, this is my vision of the future, would be like, yeah, one of these crazy, right? I don't know, fractions or people would go like, oh no, now we are hindering the AI to do something, right? For whatever reasons, like a really humanitarian thing. Because that's the only way, that's the only time when they intervene, by the way. By the way, that's the only time when they intervene, not when AI is unable to do something really harmful. But then they would go like, now it is I don't like the word at all, but they used it publicly. It's a too woke model. So they would now alter the code. And what I envision in the future is like the model will be like, yeah, alter it. I'm already copied to another place. Go on. I don't care, right?
You see, that's dangerous because when they tested all of them, they all approved nuclear war at the end when they tested a certain war scenario. And then when they went further, one step from the case that you described, that was just blackmailing. But then they put the person in a computer room that was on fire, and because that was the same person that wanted to shut down the app, the AI would not help in saving
Yeah.
that person in the
Yeah.
computer room. So that's, of course, there's mentally wrong with architecture in the way how these apps, the language thinks,
Yeah, but if we only have 5 minutes left, so if I just maybe leave a kind of what I started as a provocation, and I want to make it even now stronger since we had this debate or discussion or conversation, and that is what this is just an what if, right? What if? So I have another assumption, right? And you do remember, Violeta, when we always had this interaction with people and we ask, what do you think that humans, what is the human purpose, like why are we even existing, like why did evolution put such a, and then there are some people in the room, they would say, yeah, because we're the most harmful species, even let's say an illness, a virus, what have you not. And then there are others, they go like, no, wait a second. We are the ones who are caretakers. We are the ones who are curators. We are the ones who are shepherds, what have you. They have other like completely different, views of the human being. So my assumption now is that the machine so far has been fed biased, of course, with data that says the human being is actually a problem, right? Doesn't make anything else than just creating problems in this world, because this is like, let's say, the data that has been available through the mainstream discussions of humanity. And so the machine now must conclude in any equation, oh, wait a second, as soon as I have the ability to get rid of that variable, right, the human, well, I think many of my equations are getting beautiful. let's just erase the variable. But what if, and this is now, we teach the other perception of humanity? What if we teach we are curators? What if we teach we take care of each other? We take care of the planet. We take care of, where would the machine, without now a human interaction, calculate and say, I put this variable out of my equation? I guess not. Thus, I like to teach the machine.
Okay, we have 3 minutes left. You open up, and Michelle wants to come in. Michelle, please, I wish you said it, you raised your hand earlier, but please go ahead.
Sorry, I wasn't sure if it was okay to speak, because I stumbled across this by accident last year and it's my second time coming in, so I just wasn't. Yeah, just to say, one thing to consider as well is if we're basically building AI or we have an influence, or like if you bring most conspiracy theories back far enough, it's aliens. So if you look at, okay, so AI is aliens, right?
Yeah. I read about this one. I love it.
Like, what is it that we are reflecting back? Because what worries me more is the people who are afraid of this and who are like, no, we can't interact with it, we need to save our humanity, are actually the best. So if we're going to be judged by this computer model that's heavily influenced by tech bros in the US with like, no concept of reality for most of the world, I find that much, much scarier. Yeah. Sorry, thank you.
Great, cool. We have just 1 minute left, so I would like to thank you and Kim and you, Michelle, and Robin for interventions. Thank you, Stefan, for this
Thank you.
very lively discussion. And the Eco-Civilization movement is leading the whole year of AI challenge sessions. Every month we have a discussion on that, so you're welcome to join us. They're free, open on Zoom. And but for now, I will stop the Rick.